Hello everyone, Mae-Gwyn here, and today I'm going to be giving you a tutorial with the help of my magical penguin friend Pingu on how to make a fish bracer. So without further ado, let's get started with this tutorial. For the pattern, you're going to have two pattern pieces. You're going to have the first one that is the shape that will go around the arm. And then you're going to have the fin shape that's going to sit upright on the finished bracer, thus giving it a protruding fin look. Now, to get this shape, you're going to take a piece of paper and you're going to fold it in half. What you're going to do next is you're going to lay it on your arm to check the length. Now here, I like the length of this fold without having to adjust it. It's good enough for me. So I'm just going to leave it at that. The next step is I'm going to center that where I want it to be, wrap the paper around my wrist, and mark off with my finger where I want that bracer to end along my wrist. Make sure to mark that down, like so. Now, in order to get the slanted look, you're going to take this mark and you're going to take a ruler and you're going to angle it slightly away from that center fold line. Now, you can leave it like this if you want. However, I wanted to have a little bit more of a elegant curve along the wrist line and right along where the elbow is. So I went ahead and added in some curves. And there you have it. There is your base pattern. Now, one more thing to note. On my pattern here, I have another line. That is the marking line for where my fin is going to stand out from. I did it a little bit off center because I wanted it to look a little bit more elegant than having it just come straight out of my wrist or my arm. What you're going to do is you're going to choose an arbitrary point. It can be, you can either have it off center, to the right or to the left, it doesn't really matter. Choose an arbitrary point and then draw in an angled line starting from that point. Like so. Once you have this pattern, you may go ahead and cut it out. To get the fin part of the pattern, you're going to want to take the line that you drew, the angled line, you're going to want to measure that. You take that measurement down. This one is about 20 centimeters long. And you're going to take another piece of paper and draw a line that is 20 centimeters long. This is going to be the line that I have right here, the fold, you'll notice, right here. Once you have this line drawn, then it's up to you to draw in the curves that you want. I chose to put in 4 spikes. You can put in 3, you can put in 5, doesn't really matter. There is my shape. Now, to get the flap, you're going to need to add in a flap to this. You're just going to add maybe about 1.5 centimeters or a centimeter down below this line that you drew here. So again, this doesn't have to be perfect. It's just enough to be able to give our fin some support when we attach it to the actual bracer. Once you have that, you can go ahead and cut it out and make sure to fold this so that you have that nice fold line. Now we get to building. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your bracer pattern piece, lay it down on some craft foam, and trace out your pattern. this line here, you're going to want to take your piece of paper and fold it right on that diagonal line, because you are going to want to mark the line onto your piece of foam. This is where your fin is going to sit. Now, remember, this is off center, so whenever you make your other opposite bracer, you're going to want to draw it on the opposite side of the center line. Make sure you flip it so that you have two different bracers and not the same one. Now you can go ahead and cut it out. So, we now have the foam base for our bracer. Now, you're going to want to make sure that you cut two pieces of your Worbla with approximately this kind of shape to it. One of the pieces is going to go on the bottom. Notice how there is a kind of shiny side. That is the glue side of the Worbla. That's the sticky side. These are going to be put together. So it's going to be sandwiched together like that. Now, before we actually do any sandwiching of anything, you are going to want to take your pattern and you are going to want to mark out a line on your Worbla. The reason being is because the fin, the reason we have a flap is the flap is going to go underneath the top layer of Worbla. So in order for it to do that, you have to have a slit in the Worbla itself so that you can have it tucked under. So make sure you draw in that line, giving it enough space to have the entire piece on with a lot of room around the edges. And then you just go ahead and make that line. And then we're gonna go ahead and cut that out. So that is for the arm part of the bracer. You're gonna wanna have two pieces of Worbla. Again, you're gonna have the sticky, shiny side facing each other. And this will be for the fin. We want to make sure that you have enough to cover the fin. The fin is not going to be reinforced. We're just going to glue these two pieces. We're going to heat them up and glue them together using the glue side. That offers enough rigidity. And then of course you're going to be adding the spines later on. That helps keep it rigid as well. So we're going to work on the fin portion first. We're going to take our heat gun, use it on high, and we're going to heat up both sides of the black Worbla and then smush them together. All right, we've got them nice and hot. And then sticky sides together, we're going to line them up. And smush down. So once you have your two pieces of Worbla smushed together, you're going to want to take your pattern and carefully trace it onto your Worbla. Once you have your pattern, you're going to want to cut it out. we're gonna do is we're going to add the spines now. So you're gonna take some scrap Worbla, heat them up. You want to heat it up so that it's nice and soft. And what you're going to do is you're going to fold it and roll it into a strip, a rounded strip. Kind of stretch it out with your fingers. And if you feel that it's getting a little hard for you to manipulate, then you can always reheat it again with the heat gun. And once you have the desired length, you can go ahead and heat up your piece. Now once you have the desired length, you're gonna heat up your piece, heat up this a little bit again to activate the glue, and then stick it on. And you're gonna continue for the rest of the spines. All right, now we have our spines on our fin, and you're gonna need to wait for it to completely cool before we go into the next step. That line that we drew here, we're going to now fold this flap upwards. So I wanna make sure to heat up just this part and then fold it up. To start making the base of the bracer. So make sure you take your bottom piece, start heating it up, make it nice and flat. Then we're gonna put this on and then put the fin on. So let's heat this up. Now, we're gonna take our piece that we cut here on our left side, and what you're going to do is you're going to place this here along that line, and you're going to place this right over top like so. We're going to want to heat this piece up first, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's place this along that line, and then we're going to carefully place this over top. You want to take your paintbrush and push in along those edges. You want to make sure that you press it in really nice. Once you have one side done, you're going to wait for it to fully harden before we move on to the other side. So when you put this on, you're going to want to make it overlap a little bit up above the fold, because you want to be able to hide the gaps that you're going to be seeing near the edges of this fin. So let me go ahead and heat that Worbla up. So here we are. We have the base for our bracer. Last step that we need to do is start to curve it. So I recommend that you have some kind of round cylinder kind of thing to get started. Just to kind of get the form until it kind of solidifies, and then you can transfer onto your actual arm. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you heat just the base. Don't heat this part. Don't do that. So there you have it. Here is the finished product. Well, not quite finished yet. We still have quite a bit of work to do, and you'll be able to see that in the next upcoming video where I will show you how I do my attachments and how I decorate my bracer. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any other suggestions for cosplay tutorials, please leave them in the comments below, and I will see you next time.